trapped in yourself, as if there's something you can't control, something making decisions for you. Those times when you think, "Why did I do this?" Or, "Why do I feel this way when I don't want to?" Think about it for a moment. How many times have you tried to change, only to find yourself in the same place again? It's like something inside you is sabotaging you. But what if I told you, it's not your fault? You are not the one in control of your mind. At least, not entirely. And it's not because you're broken or because something is missing. It's because there's a part of you, hidden, steering the wheel. That part of you is called the subconscious. And even if you can't see it or feel it, your subconscious is there, holding memories, emotions, and behavior patterns you learned without realizing it. Let me ask you something. Do you remember everything you experienced as a child? But your subconscious does. Every word you heard, every experience you lived through, every emotion you felt is stored somewhere deep in your mind. And now, those invisible fragments dictate your decisions, your reactions, even your fears, without you even knowing it. Those times when you overreact to something small, like a comment or a glance, is it really you who's reacting? Or maybe it's a buried memory, a pattern your subconscious repeats. Your subconscious doesn't just store your personal experiences. It also connects to something even deeper, the collective unconscious. What is this? It's the idea that all minds, across all cultures and throughout all of time, are connected. A simple example: why are you afraid of the dark? Is it because something dark hurt you? Or because, deep in our species, we learned to fear what we can't see? This collective unconscious shapes how you perceive the world. It connects you to symbols, emotions, and archetypes you don't even know you know. That's why you sometimes dream of strange yet familiar things. That's why you sometimes feel something without understanding why. But here's what's important. None of this is your fault. Think about this. If you try to grab water with your hands, what happens? It slips through your fingers. The harder you try to hold it, the faster it disappears. Your mind works the same way. The more you try to control everything, your thoughts, your emotions, your decisions, the more frustrated you feel. And that frustration doesn't come from your lack of ability. It comes from not accepting that there are parts of you simply cannot dominate. But what happens if you let go of the water? It flows. You stop trying to control it. And instead, you simply watch it follow its course. Accepting that you don't control your mind isn't giving up. It's an act of trust. Your subconscious isn't here to destroy you. It's here to guide you, even if you don't fully understand it. For example, have you ever had a gut feeling? That instinct you can't explain but turns out to be right. That's not magic. It's your subconscious sending you signals, analyzing patterns your conscious mind can't see. The key isn't fighting your subconscious, but listening to it. Pay attention to those impulses, those emotions that arise for no apparent reason. Ask yourself, what is my mind trying to tell me? What can I learn from this? Sometimes, what you fear most is there because your mind is trying to protect you. Those painful memories, those repetitive patterns, are attempts to keep you safe. But here's the secret. You don't always have to obey them. You can observe them, thank them, and then let them go. But besides this, there are 3 things you can do to change and start taking control. First, stop and observe. The next time you feel anxious, insecure, or even stuck, don't distract yourself. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? You might discover that it has nothing to do with what's happening now. but with something you experienced years ago. Second, write to untangle your thoughts. Take a piece of paper and write down what you feel, without filters. It doesn't matter if it seems chaotic, because when you write, you often discover connections you didn't know were there. Maybe you'll realize that fear isn't even yours, but something someone else taught you. Third, reprogram your mind. Your subconscious learns through repetition, so start replacing those limiting thoughts. For example, if you tell yourself, "I'm not enough," replace it with, "I'm capable of facing whatever comes." At first it will sound fake, but over time, your mind will start to believe it. The relationship with your subconscious isn't something that happens right away. It's like learning to play an instrument. At first, you don't know how, but with time and practice, you start to understand how it works. Have you ever stopped to really listen to what you're feeling? That sadness or anger that sometimes takes over isn't your enemy, it's a signal. It's telling you something important, even if you don't understand it right away. Your subconscious has an incredible power to change the way you see the world. Imagine two people going through the same situation, but one sees an opportunity, while the other only sees a problem. Why is that? Because what you believe deep down inside influences how you see things. Changing that isn't easy, but it is possible. You just have to be willing to look at yourself, your fears, and your beliefs, and be ready to change. An interesting thing is that your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and what you imagine. This means that if you imagine yourself reaching your goals or overcoming your fears, your mind starts to believe it's possible. It's like practicing for something important. You're preparing so that, when the time comes, you'll know exactly what to do. Also, your body and mind are more connected than you think. That knot in your stomach when you feel nervous, or that empty feeling when you're sad, isn't a coincidence. Your body is showing what's going on in your mind. If you learn to notice these signs without judging them, you can start to understand what your subconscious is trying to tell you. It's like having an inner compass that always points to what you need. And the most important thing, your subconscious has a ton. Remember this, you are not just your thoughts. You are not just your emotions. You are something much deeper, something much greater, connected to a universe that goes beyond your current understanding. You are a spark of something vast, and even though at times you may feel trapped in the currents of your mind, remember that you are destined for something larger than the mere present moment. There is a wisdom that transcends what you think and feel. Your mind is not your enemy. It is a river, a constant flow of ideas, memories, sensations, and emotions. Just like a river doesn't fight against its course, you don't need to fight against your thoughts. If you allow them to flow without trying to stop or control them, you'll discover inner landscapes you never imagined existed. The mind, when allowed to be, has the power to guide you to a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. You are not the one who controls your mind. It's true that most of the time, you believe you can manage all your thoughts, but the reality is that the mind is far more complex. Complete control is an illusion. Accepting this is not a failure. It's an act of liberation. By letting go of the desire to control, you open the door to a fuller experience of being, to a peace that doesn't depend on the rigidity of control, but on the flow and acceptance of what you are in this moment. Sometimes, the first step toward peace is precisely letting go. The constant effort to keep everything in order, to control every thought, every emotion, can be exhausting. But when you decide to trust in the natural flow of the mind, you find a serenity that can only be achieved when you let go of the need to have everything under control. Only then can you connect with the deepest part of yourself, that which is pure, that is at peace with the universe.